Hi, I want to welcome you all to Jack Capellas Presents. I know for many of you this is your first time in Williamsburg, so thank you for coming out to our little village. And I just wanted to also mention, it's a little hard to see, but this is the exhibition, The Universe is Accelerating in its Expansion, by Laura Emmerich, who is hiding somewhere here. Laura? That's Laura over there.
Not hiding.
The exhibition also extends in the back room, where we also have refreshments. So afterwards, if you're so inclined, please stay. I'm not going to say very much. I just want to introduce Richard Foreman. His play is coming out in January. King Rufus Rules the Universe.
Go!
Oh!
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
I'm sure I'm serving just a ceremonial function, since I get the distinct feeling that everybody in this room knows who Howard is. Is there anybody here who doesn't know everything about Howard?
I don't have a clue.
No, actually, there's some people back there. Okay. Howard, as far as I know, started out as a certified scientist. At a certain point, and I don't really know why, gave up science, became the manager of a lot of rock and roll artists like Michael Jackson, Peter Gabriel, Joan Jett, and then got chronic fatigue, as most of us should. But he then returned to the world of science, and for the last, I don't know how many years, he has existed in his room, surrounded by huge degrees of media, writing 2 great books, Smooths for Principle and Global Brain. And I myself, I'm just trying to remember, I think I first heard of Howard because I read in the Disinformation website, God exists, and he lives in Brooklyn, and his name is Howard Bloom. Well, that seemed, if he lives in Brooklyn, I better look it up. Close to that period, I don't remember if it came first, but I read the Global Brain or afterwards. But I'm a pretty shy person, but I did something I've done 3 times in my life. And I, without too much difficulty, found Howard's phone number. And trembling, I called up, and I said something about, oh, I write these plays and so forth. And Howard said, oh, that sounds interesting. Why don't you come over and we can talk? So I did, and I've come over several other times when Howard invites a small group of people for some kind of discussion that reminds me of the kind of salon, exciting atmosphere that almost made me move to Paris when I used to work in Paris a lot. For me, who's written plays and produced plays for 35 years and have tried to, at every moment, what's going on the stage, say to myself, wait a minute, what's really going on here? What that meant for me was to try and find out what was standing under the behavior that seemed to be normally going on in our lives. And I began, when I was young, of course, thinking that I could find out what was standing under by looking at a lot of Eastern philosophy, by dealing with psychoanalysis. Then, of course, with Jungian analysis, the ideas of a collective unconscious that might be standing under. And then reading The Global Brain, having the feeling that Howard was suggesting a kind of biological unconscious that was standing over and drifting through us and changing us. And to me, it's been an inspiration to use that work of Howard, not as something to talk about, because I don't think that's what artists do properly in literature or in theater, but to try to be isomorphic with the processes that Howard is talking about. So, it's a great pleasure that I introduce the man you've waited to see here for the first time in many years in public, Howard Bloom.
Thank you for coming. Richard, oh yes, wait, we have a lavalier mic here. Okay, Exhibit A of today's gallery exhibit, a piece of art known as a lavalier mic. Okay, we'll put this on, and while we're at it, we'll turn this on, which is permanently clipped here. And This is my first time out of the house since 1988 doing anything in public at all. And I'm mostly going to read to you and then try to engage you in discussion, provoke you into discussion if possible. Because Don, who introduced Richard, and Laura, who did the pictures around you, have confronted us with something that is exquisitely important in the world right now, and our choice point as human beings. We're at an enormous choice point. We could obliterate ourselves as a species sometime in the next 3 years, possibly even earlier. And as we all try to make up our minds about how to avoid doing this, how to avoid destroying ourselves as a species, we're operating on some premises that are so dead wrong, that are